The water was still running in the bathroom when Simone heard the notification. She had left her phone on the nightstand, face down, charging while she took what was supposed to be a quick shower before bed. Through the sound of water hitting tile, she heard it buzz once, then twice, then 3 times in rapid succession. Derek was in the bedroom. She could hear him moving around, probably getting ready for bed himself. What Simone did not know was that her phone had been recording for the past 15 minutes. She had accidentally activated the voice memo app when she set it down. The phone had been listening to everything happening in that bedroom while she was in the shower, scrubbing away the stress of a long day at work. When she finally turned off the water and wrapped herself in a towel, the bedroom was quiet. Derek was already under the covers, his back turned to her side of the bed. His phone glowed in his hand as he scrolled through something. She dried off, put on her pajamas and climbed into bed beside him. "Long day?" Derek asked without looking up from his screen. "The usual," Simone said, reaching for her phone. "I'm exhausted." "Get some sleep then," he said, still not looking at her. Simone plugged in her earbuds, thinking she would listen to a meditation app before sleeping. That was when she saw it. A voice memo file. 23 minutes long. Created tonight. She frowned. She did not remember recording anything. Her thumb hovered over the delete button, but curiosity made her press play instead. At first, there was just the sound of water running in the background. Then she heard the bedroom door open. Derek's voice came through clearly. "Hey baby." "Yeah, she's in the shower. I have maybe 10 minutes. Simone's heart stopped. She turned the volume down and glanced at Derek beside her. He was still scrolling through his phone, completely unaware. She pulled the blanket up higher and kept listening. "I miss you too," Derek said, his voice warm in a way it had not been with her in months. "Tomorrow? I can't. We have that thing with her parents. Sunday though. I'll tell her I have to work." There was a pause. He was listening to someone on the other end. The woman. Whoever she was. "Of course I'm still going through with it," Derek said, and Simone heard him laugh. Actually laugh. "The wedding is in 3 months. Everything is paid for. Her parents put down $20,000. I can't just call it off now." Simone's hands started shaking. She pressed the phone harder against her ear, even though every word felt like a knife sliding between her ribs. "Baby, listen," Derek continued. "After the wedding, things will be easier. We'll have the house fully in both our names. I'll have access to everything. Give it a year, maybe 2, then I'll file for divorce. I'll get half of everything and we can finally be together for real." Simone could not breathe. She could not move. She just lay there, 3 feet away from this man she had planned to marry, listening to him plot out the destruction of her life like it was a business transaction. "She doesn't suspect anything," Derek said. "She's too busy with work and wedding planning. Honestly, it's perfect. She's so stressed about making everything perfect that she barely notices what I'm doing." There was another pause. Then Derek laughed again, and this time the sound made Simone's stomach turn. I know. You're right. She does try too hard. Everything has to be perfect with her. The perfect wedding, the perfect house, the perfect life. It's exhausting, honestly." Simone felt tears sliding down her cheeks, but she did not make a sound. She barely breathed. Beside her, Derek shifted in bed, completely relaxed. Completely unaware that his entire plan was unraveling 3 feet away. "What am I wearing to bed?" Derek said, his voice dropping lower. "Why don't you tell me what you want me to be wearing?" Simone ripped the earbuds out of her ears. She could not listen anymore. Not to that. She sat up in bed, her heart pounding so hard she thought it might burst through her chest. Derek looked up from his phone. "You okay?" he asked. Simone stared at him. This man she had loved for 3 years. This man she had said yes to when he proposed on a beach at sunset 6 months ago. This man who had met her family, who had helped her father fix his car, who had held her when her grandmother died. This man who had just spent 15 minutes on the phone with another woman, planning to marry Simone for her money and then divorce her. "I'm fine," Simone heard herself say. Her voice sounded far away. "Just tired." "Then go to sleep," Derek said, already looking back at his phone. Simone lay back down, but she did not sleep. She could not sleep. She stared at the ceiling in the dark, listening to Derek's breathing slow and even out as he drifted off. He had no idea. No idea that she knew everything. No idea that his whole plan had just exploded. Hours passed. Simone watched the numbers on the clock change. Midnight. 1 in the morning. 2. Derek snored softly beside her, peaceful and content. Meanwhile, Simone's mind raced through everything. Every late night at work. Every weekend business trip. Every time he had been distant or distracted. It all made sense now. At 3 in the morning, Derek's phone buzzed on his nightstand. Simone watched as the screen lit up with a text message. She could not see who it was from, but she did not need to. She knew. When Derek's breathing stayed steady and his snoring continued, Simone carefully reached across him and picked up his phone. She knew his passcode. They had shared passcodes months ago, back when she thought they had no secrets. Back when she was stupid enough to trust him. The phone unlocked. The message was from a contact saved as Mike from accounting. Missing you already. Can't wait for Sunday. I love you. But the contact photo was not a man named Mike. It was a woman. Pretty. Blonde. Smiling at the camera like she had not a care in the world. Like she was not helping destroy someone else's life. Simone took a screenshot. Then another. Then she started scrolling through the messages. Months of them. Hundreds of messages. Plans to meet. Intimate details. Pictures. Videos. Everything she needed to prove that Derek was not the man she thought she was marrying. She forwarded everything to her own phone. Every message. Every photo. Every piece of evidence. Derek did not move. He just kept sleeping, completely unaware that his future was being dismantled one screenshot at a time. When the sun started coming up, Simone finally put Derek's phone back on his nightstand. She got out of bed carefully, grabbed her phone and went to the kitchen. She made coffee with shaking hands and sat at the table, staring at nothing. Everything she had planned was gone. The wedding. The future. The life she thought she was building. All of it was based on a lie. Derek did not love her. He probably never had. She was just a means to an end. A paycheck. A house. A retirement plan. Simone thought about all the nights she had stayed late at work, trying to make enough money to help pay for their dream wedding. She thought about the second job she had taken on weekends, doing freelance graphic design, because she wanted them to have a nice honeymoon. She thought about how she had put Derek's name on the house deed because he said it would make him feel like they were really partners. She had given him everything. And he had been planning to take it all and leave. The coffee burned her tongue, but she barely felt it. She was numb. Completely numb. Except for one thing. One tiny spark in the center of her chest that was not sadness or pain. It was anger. Derek had made a mistake. He had underestimated her. He had thought she was too busy, too trusting, too naive to figure out what he was doing. He had thought he could use her and discard her whenever it suited him. He was wrong. Simone opened her laptop and started searching for lawyers. Simone called in sick to work. She never called in sick. In 3 years at the graphic design firm, she had used exactly 2 sick days, both times for actual illness. But today she could not go in. She could not sit in meetings and pretend everything was fine. She could not smile at coworkers and work on client projects like her entire life had not just fallen apart. Derek left for work at 8, same as always. He kissed her forehead on his way out the door. She let him. She even smiled. Inside, she felt like she was made of broken glass, but outside, she was perfectly calm. Feel better, babe, Derek said as he grabbed his keys. Text me if you need anything. I will, Simone said. The moment his car pulled out of the driveway, she went to work. She had already backed up all the screenshots from his phone to her laptop, but she needed more. She needed everything. If she was going to end this, she was going to do it right. Derek's laptop was in his home office. He worked from home on Fridays, so he kept a whole setup in the spare bedroom. Simone knew his password for this too. They had shared everything. That was how relationships were supposed to work, right? Trust. Partnership. Honesty. She laughed bitterly as she opened his laptop. What a joke. His email was already logged in. Simone started scrolling through his sent folder, looking for anything addressed to Candace. That was her name. She had found it in the phone messages. Candace Porter. She worked at Derek's company in the marketing department. The emails were worse than the texts. They were explicit. Detailed. They talked about their future together. Candace sent messages about houses she had found for them to buy. Derek replied with heart emojis and promises. They had been planning this for months. Maybe longer. Simone felt sick, but she kept reading. She screenshotted everything. She forwarded copies to her own email address. She made a folder on her laptop labeled Evidence and organized everything by date. Then she found the receipts. Derek had been using their joint credit card to take Candace on dates. Expensive restaurants, hotels, gifts, jewelry. He had bought her a necklace for her birthday last month. A $2,000 necklace. Simone recognized it because she had wanted the same one, but Derek had said they needed to save money for the wedding. She printed everything. The credit card statements. The hotel receipts. The restaurant bills. Every single piece of evidence that proved Derek had been lying to her for months while spending their money on another woman. In his desk drawer she found more. A Valentine's Day card from Candace. A photo of the two of them together at what looked like a work conference. Derek's arm around her waist. Both of them smiling. Simone checked the date on the back of the photo. February. 4 months ago. Derek had told her that conference was mandatory and that spouses were not invited. She had believed him. She had stayed home and worked overtime while he went to a conference with his girlfriend. Simone sat in Derek's office chair and looked at everything spread out in front of her. Months of lies. Months of betrayal. Months of being made a fool. She had been planning a wedding while Derek had been planning a con. Her phone rang. It was Derek. "Hey," she answered, keeping her voice neutral. "What's up?" "Just checking on you," Derek said. "How are you feeling?" "Better," Simone lied. "I think I just needed rest." "Good. Listen, I might be home late tonight. We have a project deadline." "Okay," Simone said. She wondered if he was really working late or if he was seeing Candace. Not that it mattered anymore. "Love you," Derek said. "You too," Simone said and hung up. She stared at her phone. Those words meant nothing now. They were just sounds. Empty and hollow. She spent the rest of the day organizing everything. She created a timeline of the affair. She made copies of everything on a flash drive and put it in her purse. She uploaded everything to a cloud storage account that Derek did not have access to. She was not taking any chances. If he found out she knew, he might try to delete evidence or hide assets. Around 3 in the afternoon, Simone drove to the bank. She walked in with her head high and asked to speak to a financial advisor. She explained that she needed to understand what accounts she had access to and what was in her name only versus joint names. The advisor, a kind woman named Patricia, pulled up all of Simone's accounts. The house was in both their names. They had a joint checking account and a joint savings account. Derek had his own checking account for his business expenses, and Simone had her own savings account that she had opened before they met. "I want to remove someone from my joint accounts," Simone said carefully. "What's the process?" Patricia looked at her sympathetically. She had probably seen this before. Women coming in trying to protect themselves before a breakup. "Both parties need to agree to close or separate joint accounts," Patricia explained. "However, you can withdraw funds from a joint account without permission from the other person. You can also open new accounts in just your name at any time." "What about the house?" "If both names are on the deed, you'll need a lawyer to help with that. It gets complicated with property." Simone nodded. She had expected as much. "Can I open a new checking account today? Just in my name?" "Absolutely." Simone opened a new account and transferred half the money from the joint savings account into it. It was her money. She had earned it. She was not leaving it for Derek to spend on his girlfriend. She also transferred her entire paycheck deposit to the new account. Starting next pay period, her money would go somewhere Derek could not touch it. When she got home, Derek's car was not in the driveway. Working late like he said. Or maybe he was with Candace. Simone did not care anymore. She had work to do. She went through the house room by room, making a list of everything she had bought versus what Derek had bought. The television was hers. The couch was joint. The kitchen table was hers. The bed was joint. She was methodical about it, taking photos of everything for documentation. Then she went to her jewelry box. She found her grandmother's ring. The one that had been passed down through 3 generations. She put it in a safe deposit box at the bank the next day, along with other important documents. Her birth certificate. Her social security card. Her passport. Everything Derek might try to use against her. She was building a case. Not for court necessarily, but for herself. She needed to know that when she finally confronted him, she had everything she needed. She needed to know that he could not wiggle out of this or make her doubt herself. Derek came home at 9 that night. He smelled like perfume. Not her perfume. He kissed her cheek like nothing was wrong. "How was work?" Simone asked, her voice sweet. "Exhausting," Derek said. "But we got the project done." "That's good." Simone watched him go upstairs to shower. She wondered if he was washing off evidence of Candace. She wondered if he thought she was stupid enough to never figure it out. That night, lying in bed beside him again, Simone felt nothing. Not love. Not hate. Just a cold, clear determination. She was going to end this. But she was going to do it her way. On her terms. Derek had underestimated her. That was his first mistake. And it was going to be his last. The law office was downtown, in one of those tall buildings with glass walls and expensive art in the lobby. Simone had taken a personal day from work, telling her boss she had a doctor's appointment. In a way, it was not entirely a lie. She was going to see someone who would help her diagnose the problem and fix it. The lawyer's name was attorney Lisa Hammond. She specialized in family law and had excellent reviews online. Simone had spent hours researching lawyers, reading reviews, looking at success rates. She wanted someone smart. Someone who would not judge her. Someone who would help her protect what was hers. Ms. Brooks? The receptionist called her name. Attorney Hammond will see you now. Simone followed her down a hallway to a corner office. Attorney Hammond was a black woman in her 50s, with silver streaks in her natural hair and sharp eyes behind designer glasses. She stood up and shook Simone's hand firmly. Please sit down, she said, gesturing to a comfortable chair across from her desk. Tell me what brings you in today. Simone took a breath and told her everything. The recording. The messages. The affair. The plan to marry her and divorce her for money. She showed Attorney Hammond all the evidence on her laptop. Every screenshot. Every receipt. Every email. Attorney Hammond listened carefully, taking notes on a legal pad. She did not interrupt. She just let Simone talk until there was nothing left to say. How long have you been together? Attorney Hammond asked when Simone finished. 3 years. Engaged for 6 months. And the house. You said both names are on the deed. Yes. I bought it 2 years ago with my savings, but Derek said it would mean a lot to him if I added his name. He said it would make him feel like we were really building a life together. So I did. 6 months before he proposed. Attorney Hammond nodded, writing something down. And how much did he contribute to the down payment? Nothing. I paid for everything. But he said he would pay half the mortgage, which he has been doing. Do you have documentation of that? Yes. All the bank statements show his contributions. Good. That helps. Attorney Hammond looked at Simone seriously. Here's the situation. You're not married yet, which is actually good news for you. If you were married, dividing assets would be much more complicated. As it stands, you have options. What kind of options? First, the house. Since you paid the down payment and have been paying the mortgage, you have a strong claim to it. However, because his name is on the deed, he has partial ownership. You can either buy him out, force a sale, or negotiate terms. Given the circumstances and the evidence you have, I believe we can negotiate terms that are favorable to you. Simone nodded. What about the joint accounts? You can legally withdraw any amount from joint accounts. I would recommend taking out what you contributed plus half of what he contributed. Keep detailed records of everything. You're already doing that, which is smart. And the wedding? We've paid deposits. My parents paid for most of it. If you cancel, you'll lose some deposits, but not all. Most vendors have cancellation policies. The sooner you cancel, the more you might get back. As for your parents' contribution, they could potentially sue Derek for reimbursement, but that would be their decision, not yours. Simone felt her chest tighten. Her parents had been so excited about the wedding. They had saved for years to give her the perfect day. And Derek had taken their money knowing the whole thing was a scam. What's my next move? Simone asked. We need to protect your assets immediately. Here's what I recommend. Attorney Hammond pulled out a clean legal pad and started writing. First, document everything in the house that belongs to you. Take photos, videos, keep receipts if you have them. Second, open new bank accounts in your name only and gradually move your money. Don't take everything at once because that could cause issues, but protect what's yours. Third, change passwords on all your personal accounts. Email, social media, everything. Fourth, start looking for a place to stay because once you confront him, you don't want to be in that house. I can stay with my friend Tatiana. Good. Do you have somewhere secure to keep important documents? I got a safe deposit box. Excellent. Put anything irreplaceable in there. Family heirlooms, important papers, anything you can't replace. Attorney Hammond looked at Simone with something like respect. You're being very smart about this. A lot of people come in here emotional and reactive. You're thinking clearly. I don't feel clear, Simone admitted. I feel like I'm moving through fog. That's shock. But you're still functioning, which is what matters. Now, about the confrontation. How do you want to handle that? I want everyone to know what he did, Simone said. The words came out harder than she intended. I want his family to know. My family. Our friends. I don't want him to be able to spin this like I'm the bad guy. Attorney Hammond considered this carefully. I understand the impulse. But you need to be strategic. If you expose him publicly, he might retaliate. He might try to make you look bad or cause problems with your job. He works at Henderson and Associates. She works there too. The woman he's having an affair with. If I report them, they could both get fired for having a workplace relationship, right? Possibly. Many companies have policies about that, especially if there's any power dynamic involved. Is there? Derek is a senior analyst. She's in marketing. I don't think he's her direct supervisor, but he's higher up than her. That could be a problem for them. But Simone, you need to think about what you want out of this. Do you want revenge, or do you want to move on with your life intact? Can't I have both? Attorney Hammond smiled slightly. Sometimes. But revenge has a cost. It takes time and energy. It keeps you tied to this situation longer. My job is to help you understand all the consequences before you make decisions. Simone thought about this. She thought about Derek sleeping peacefully while she lay awake. She thought about Candace texting him love messages while Simone worked overtime to pay for a wedding that was never going to happen. I want both, Simone said finally. I want him to face consequences for what he did. And I want to move on. Then we'll make a plan that accomplishes both, Attorney Hammond said. But we do it legally and strategically. No acting out of emotion. No making decisions when you're angry. Everything we do has to be calculated and documented. They spent the next hour going over details. Attorney Hammond drafted a letter that Simone would eventually give to Derek, demanding he sign a quitclaim deed removing himself from the house. In exchange, she would not sue him for the money he spent on Candace using their joint credit card. It was not fair, but it was practical. He won't sign it, Simone said. Then we'll negotiate. The important thing is you make the first move. You control the narrative. Before Simone left, Attorney Hammond gave her a folder full of documents. Legal information about property rights. Instructions for protecting assets. A list of therapists who specialized in relationship trauma. One more thing, Attorney Hammond said as Simone stood to leave. This is going to be hard. Harder than you think. Even when you're angry, even when you know you're doing the right thing, you're going to have moments where you doubt yourself. Where you wonder if you should give him another chance. Don't. I won't. I've seen a lot of people in your situation. The ones who go back always regret it. The ones who leave and don't look back? They build better lives. Remember that when it gets difficult. Simone nodded. She shook Attorney Hammond's hand and left the office feeling more solid than she had in days. She had a plan now. She had someone on her side who knew what they were doing. She drove to Tatiana's apartment next. Tatiana had been her best friend since college. They had lived together for 2 years before Simone moved in with Derek. Tatiana had never particularly liked Derek, though she had been polite about it. I knew something was wrong, Tatiana said when Simone told her everything. They were sitting on Tatiana's couch, drinking wine even though it was only 3 in the afternoon. I knew that man was not right. Why didn't you say something? Would you have listened? Simone considered this honestly. Probably not. Exactly. You were in love. Or you thought you were. People don't want to hear negative things about the person they're with. They have to figure it out themselves. I feel so stupid. Don't. He's the one who should feel stupid. He got caught. You're smart. You figured it out before you married him. Barely. Barely counts. Tatiana refilled both their glasses. So what's the plan? Simone told her about the lawyer. About the evidence. About her idea to expose Derek at a family gathering. When's the next one? Tatiana asked. My dad's birthday dinner. 2 weeks from now. Both families will be there. That's perfect. Maximum humiliation. Is that bad? Attorney Hammond said I should think about whether I want revenge or closure. You can have both, Tatiana said firmly. Men get away with stuff like this all the time because women are too nice. Too worried about being the bigger person. Forget that. Burn it all down. Simone laughed despite herself. Felt good to laugh. It felt good to be with someone who was unquestioningly on her side. Can I stay here? Simone asked. After I do it? I don't want to be in that house with him. You can stay here as long as you need. Forever if you want. I've got a spare room. Thank you. That's what friends are for. Destroying terrible men and offering couch space. Simone stayed at Tatiana's apartment until late that evening. They ordered takeout and watched bad reality TV and did not talk about Derek at all. For a few hours, Simone felt almost normal. Almost like herself again. When she finally went home, Derek was already in bed. He barely looked up from his phone when she came in. Where were you? He asked. Tatiana's. We had dinner. Oh, fun. That was it. No questions about how her day was. No interest in her life at all. Simone wondered how she had not noticed before how little he cared. She got ready for bed mechanically. washed her face, brushed her teeth, changed into pajamas, climbed into bed beside a man who had betrayed her in every possible way. 2 more weeks, she told herself. Just 2 more weeks of pretending. Then it would all be over. The next 2 weeks were the hardest of Simone's life. She had to pretend everything was normal. She had to smile at Derek over breakfast. She had to listen to him talk about work without screaming that she knew he was lying. She had to act like a woman who was excited to get married in 2 months. It was exhausting. Every morning she woke up and put on a mask. She made coffee. She asked Derek about his day. She talked about wedding details. She responded to texts from his mother about flower arrangements and seating charts. She called vendors and confirmed dates while simultaneously making plans to cancel everything after the confrontation. Some days she wanted to confront him immediately. Just blurt it all out and watch his face when he realized she knew. But Attorney Hammond's words kept echoing in her head. Be strategic. Don't act out of emotion. Control the narrative. So Simone controlled herself. She went to work and threw herself into her projects. She had a major campaign due for a new client, and she poured all her energy into making it perfect. It was easier to think about color schemes and typography than about the fact that her relationship was a lie. Her coworkers noticed she seemed stressed, but they attributed it to wedding planning. Everyone knew planning a wedding was hard. They offered sympathy and advice that Simone accepted with fake gratitude. At home, Derek seemed completely normal. He kissed her goodbye in the mornings. He texted her during the day with random thoughts or funny memes. He came home most evenings and ate the dinners she made. He held her hand when they watched television. He did everything a good fiancé was supposed to do. Except he did not love her. He was playing a role too. That was the part that hurt most. Realizing that everything over the past few months, maybe longer, had been an act. Every kiss was hollow. Every I love you was a lie. He was performing just like she was now, except he had been doing it for months. 1 week before her father's birthday dinner, Derek's mother called. Patricia was a sweet woman who had always treated Simone kindly. She had been so excited when Derek proposed. She had cried happy tears and hugged Simone for a long time, whispering that she had always wanted a daughter. Simone dear, Patricia said when Simone answered. I was thinking about the rehearsal dinner. Have you and Derek decided on a menu? The rehearsal dinner. Another thing Simone would have to cancel. Another deposit she would lose. Another dream that had turned into a nightmare. We're still deciding, Simone said, her voice steady even though her hands were shaking. Well, I was thinking we could do a surf and turf situation. Derek loves lobster and your father mentioned he prefers steak. Would that work? That sounds perfect. Wonderful. And I found the most beautiful centerpieces online. I'll send you the link. Oh, Simone, I'm just so excited. Derek is so lucky to have found you. You're exactly the kind of woman I always hoped he would marry. Simone closed her eyes. She felt sick. That's very sweet of you, Patricia. I mean it. You're hardworking, kind, beautiful, smart. And you clearly love my son so much. I can see it in how you look at him. The irony was almost funny. Patricia thought Simone looked at Derek with love. She had no idea that lately Simone looked at him with barely concealed disgust. We'll see you at the birthday dinner, Simone said, changing the subject. I'm looking forward to it. Me too, dear. It'll be so nice to have both families together. When Simone hung up, she sat on the couch for a long time, staring at nothing. Patricia was going to be devastated. She was going to find out that her son was not the man she thought he was. That he had been using someone. That he had lied to everyone. Simone felt a moment of guilt. But then she remembered the recording. She remembered Derek's voice, so casual, talking about taking half of everything she owned. She remembered him laughing at her, calling her exhausting. The guilt disappeared. The day of the birthday dinner arrived too slowly and too quickly at the same time. Simone woke up feeling like she might throw up. This was it. After today, everything would be different. She had packed a bag the night before and hidden it in her car. Clothes, toiletries, important documents. Everything she would need to go straight to Tatiana's apartment after the dinner. She was not coming back to the house with Derek. She had also copied the recording onto a small speaker she had bought specifically for this purpose. It was queued up and ready to play. All she had to do was press a button. You okay? Derek asked over breakfast. You seem nervous. Just want everything to go well for Dad's birthday, Simone said. It will. Your mom always throws great parties. Derek seemed excited about the dinner. He talked about how he had gotten Simone's father an expensive bottle of whiskey as a gift. He mentioned that some of his coworkers might stop by later to say hello since the party was at a restaurant they all knew. Simone just nodded and smiled and did not mention that one of those co-workers was probably Candace. They got dressed up. Derek wore a suit. Simone wore a red dress that she had bought months ago for the engagement party. She looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. She looked older, tired, but also determined. "You look beautiful," Derek said, coming up behind her and kissing her neck. Simone did not flinch away, but it took everything she had. They drove to the restaurant together. Simone's parents had rented out a private room for the party. About 30 people would be there. Both families, close friends, a few colleagues from her father's job, and Candace. Derek had mentioned she might stop by. Everyone was already there when they arrived. Simone's father, a retired teacher with gray hair and a big smile, greeted them at the door. He hugged Simone tight and shook Derek's hand. "Happy birthday, Dad," Simone said. "Thank you, sweetheart. 65 years old. Can you believe it? You don't look a day over 40. Her father laughed. "You're a terrible liar, but I love you for it." They moved into the room. Patricia was there with Derek's father, Thomas. Simone's mother was directing the wait staff, making sure everything was perfect. Tatiana stood in the corner, sipping wine and watching everything. When she saw Simone, she raised her glass slightly. They had gone over the plan a dozen times. Tatiana knew what was about to happen. The dinner itself was almost nice. The food was good. The conversation flowed. People laughed and told stories about Simone's father. He opened gifts and made jokes about getting old. Derek sat beside Simone, playing the part of the perfect son-in-law to be. He laughed at the right moments. He complimented the food. He put his arm around Simone's shoulders. She let him. For now. About halfway through dinner, Derek's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and smiled slightly before putting it away. Simone knew that look. That was his Candace smile. "I invited a few people from work," Derek said to the table. "Hope that's okay. They wanted to wish you happy birthday, sir." Simone's father waved a hand. "The more the merrier." 20 minutes later, 3 people from Derek's office arrived. 2 men Simone recognized from the company holiday party. And Candace. She was exactly like her photos. Blonde, pretty, carefully dressed. She greeted Derek with a professional handshake and a smile that lingered too long. Then she turned to Simone. "You must be the famous fiancé," Candace said, extending her hand. "I've heard so much about you." Simone shook her hand. "Funny. I've heard a lot about you too." Something flickered in Candace's eyes. Uncertainty. But then Derek laughed and the moment passed. "Candace is one of our best marketing people," Derek said. "She's been helping me with a big project." "I bet she has," Tatiana muttered from across the table. The new arrivals got drinks and joined the party. Simone watched Candace watching Derek. She saw the small glances they exchanged. The way Candace positioned herself close to him. The way Derek's whole body seemed to orient toward her even when he was talking to someone else. And nobody else noticed. Or if they did not think anything of it. Because why would they? Derek was engaged. He was getting married in 2 months. He would not be stupid enough to bring his mistress to his future father-in-law's birthday party. Except he absolutely would. Because he thought he was getting away with it. Simone stood up. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was steady. "Before we have cake," she said loudly, getting everyone's attention. "I want to share something with all of you. Something important." Derek looked at her, confused. "Babe, what are you doing?" "You'll see." She pulled the small speaker out of her purse and set it on the table. Everyone was watching now. The room had gone quiet. "A couple weeks ago," Simone said, "I accidentally recorded something on my phone. I was in the shower and I left my phone in the bedroom. Derek was in there. He didn't know it was recording. And I think everyone here should hear what it captured." Derek's face went white. "Simone." She pressed play. Her own voice first, muffled by the bathroom door. Then water running. Then the bedroom door opening. Then Derek's voice, clear as day. "Hey baby. Yeah, she's in the shower. I have maybe 10 minutes. The room was silent. Simone watched everyone's faces as they listened. Her father's confusion. Her mother's dawning horror. Patricia's hand flying to her mouth. Thomas's anger. Tatiana's grim satisfaction. And Derek. Derek looked like he wanted to disappear. The recording kept playing. Every damning word. Every cruel joke. Every detail of his plan to marry her and divorce her for money. It went on for 5 full minutes and nobody spoke. Nobody moved. They just listened. When it ended, the silence was deafening. For what felt like an eternity but was probably only seconds, nobody moved. The entire room was frozen, staring at the small speaker on the table like it was a bomb that had just detonated. Which, in a way, it had. Derek was the first to break the silence. He stood up so fast his chair fell backward. That's not, I can explain, that's taken out of context. Out of context? Simone's voice was cold. Colder than she had ever heard herself sound. What context makes you planning to marry me for money and then divorce me acceptable? Patricia started crying. Not quiet tears. Loud, heaving sobs. Thomas put his arm around her, but he was staring at Derek with an expression of pure disgust. Derek, what the hell is this? Thomas demanded. Dad, I can explain. Then explain. Simone's father stood up. His voice was shaking with rage. Explain to me why you've been lying to my daughter. Explain why you've been planning to steal from her. Explain why I shouldn't throw you through that window right now. Mr. Brooks, please? Don't. Simone's mother stood up too. She was a small woman, barely 5'2", but she looked like she could murder someone with her bare hands. Don't you dare speak to my husband. Don't you dare speak to any of us. Derek looked around the room desperately, searching for someone who might be on his side. There was no one. Even his co-workers looked horrified. One of them was already backing toward the door. Then Derek's eyes landed on Candace. Candace had gone completely pale. She looked like she wanted to sink through the floor. Her hands were shaking so badly she had to put down her wine glass. Is that her? Tatiana asked, standing up and pointing at Candace. Is that the woman? Derek did not answer, but he did not need to. His face said everything. Oh my God, Candace whispered. Derek, you said you told me? What did he tell you? Simone asked, turning to face Candace directly. That he was unhappy? That I didn't understand him? That he was going to leave me? Candace's mouth opened and closed. No sound came out. Let me guess, Simone continued. He told you the engagement was a mistake. That he was only staying with me until he figured out how to get out. That he loved you, not me. Candace nodded slightly. He lied to you too, Simone said. He was planning to marry me and stay married for a few years. Long enough to claim half of everything I own. Then he was going to divorce me and come to you. You weren't his girlfriend. You were his backup plan. That's not true, Derek said weakly. Really? Simone pulled out her phone. Should I play the text messages? The emails? Should I show everyone the hotel receipts for all the times you told me you were working late? Derek's father stood up and walked over to his son. For a moment, Simone thought he might hug him. Comfort him. But instead, Thomas looked at Derek with more disappointment than Simone had ever seen on anyone's face. I raised you better than this, Thomas said quietly. Dad. I don't want to hear it. Thomas turned to Simone. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened to him, but this is not the son I thought I knew. Patricia was still crying, but she managed to stand up. She walked over to Simone on shaking legs. I'm so sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry he did this to you. You deserved so much better. Simone felt her own eyes getting wet, but she blinked the tears back. She was not going to cry in front of Derek. She was not going to give him that. The engagement is off, Simone said, addressing the whole room but looking at Derek. There will be no wedding. I want you out of my house. Tonight. I've already packed your things. They're in the garage. You can't kick me out, Derek said. My name is on that house. Actually, I can. I spoke to a lawyer. Since I paid the entire down payment and have been covering the mortgage, I have grounds to demand you leave while we sort out the property division. And if you don't leave peacefully, I'll file a restraining order. Derek's face went from pale to red. You can't do this. I already did. Simone pulled out another document from her purse. This is a quitclaim deed. You're going to sign it and remove your name from my house. In exchange, I won't sue you for the thousands of dollars you spent on Candace using our joint credit card. I'm not signing anything. Then I'll see you in court. And I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what you did. Your family. Your friends. Your employer. Simone looked at Candace. Both of your employers. Candace made a small noise like a wounded animal. You think you can threaten me? Derek's voice was getting louder. The nice guy mask was slipping. You think you can just humiliate me in front of everyone and get away with it? I think you humiliated yourself, Simone said calmly. I just made sure everyone knew about it. Derek took a step toward her, his hands clenched into fists. Instantly both fathers moved. Simone's father got between her and Derek, and Thomas grabbed his son's arm. Don't even think about it, Simone's father said. Get out, Thomas said to Derek. Get out before you make this worse. Worse? How could this possibly be worse? You could go to jail for assault, Tatiana said from across the room. Because if you touch Simone, I'm calling the cops. Derek looked around the room one more time. At his crying mother. At his disgusted father. At Simone's family glaring at him like he was something they had scraped off their shoes. At his co-workers already edging toward the exit. At Candace, who was staring at the floor and crying quietly. This isn't over, Derek said. Yes, it is, Simone said. It's been over for weeks. You just didn't know it. Derek grabbed his coat and stormed out. The sound of the door slamming echoed through the room. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then Candace stood up. I should go. Yeah, you should, Tatiana said. I didn't know, Candace said, looking at Simone with red eyes. I swear I didn't know he was planning that. He told me you two were basically over. That you were just going through the motions until he figured out how to end it. Do you want sympathy? Simone asked. Because you're not getting it from me. You knew he was engaged. You knew what you were doing was wrong. You just didn't care. Save it. Just go. Candace grabbed her purse and left without another word. As soon as she was gone, Simone's mother rushed over and pulled her into a tight hug. Oh baby. Oh my sweet girl. That was when Simone finally cried. Not gentle tears. Big, ugly, body-shaking sobs. All the stress and pain and betrayal of the past 2 weeks came pouring out of her while her mother held her and stroked her hair and whispered that everything was going to be okay. Patricia came over too, still crying. Simone, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry my son did this to you. If there's anything we can do. It's not your fault, Simone managed to say between sobs. You didn't know. I should have known. A mother should know. He fooled everyone, Tatiana said gently. That's what con artists do. The rest of the party was cancelled, obviously. The waitstaff cleared the tables while people gathered their things. Simone's father cancelled the cake. Everyone hugged Simone and told her they were there for her if she needed anything. Derek's co-workers left quickly, probably to start spreading the news at work. Simone knew that by Monday morning, everyone at Henderson and Associates would know what Derek had done. She found she did not care. Let them know. Let everyone know. Thomas approached Simone before he and Patricia left. We'll make sure he signs those papers, he said. I promise you that. And if there's anything you need, anything at all, please call us. This isn't your fault. This is all on Derek. Thank you, Simone said. After everyone left, only Simone, her parents, and Tatiana remained in the private room. They sat at one of the tables, nursing drinks and processing what had just happened. I'm proud of you, Simone's father said finally. That took guts. I thought you'd be angry that I ruined your birthday. Angry? Sweetheart, you just saved yourself from making the biggest mistake of your life. That's the best birthday present I could have asked for. Your father's right, Simone's mother said. Better to find out now than after you were married. I just can't believe I didn't see it sooner. Don't do that, Tatiana said firmly. Don't blame yourself. He was lying. You trusted him because that's what you're supposed to do in a relationship. He's the one who betrayed that trust. They sat there for another hour talking through everything. Simone told them about finding the recording, hiring the lawyer, collecting evidence. She told them about the last 2 weeks of pretending everything was fine. You're stronger than you know, her mother said. Not everyone could have done what you just did. I didn't feel strong. I felt like I was going to throw up the entire time. Courage isn't not being afraid, her father said. It's being afraid and doing it anyway. Eventually they all left the restaurant. Simone hugged her parents goodbye and promised to call them tomorrow. Then she got in Tatiana's car and they drove to Tatiana's apartment. You okay? Tatiana asked as they pulled into the parking lot. I don't know, Simone said honestly. I don't know what I feel. That's normal. You just blew up your entire life. It had to be done. I know. But that doesn't make it easy. They went upstairs to Tatiana's apartment. Simone changed into comfortable clothes and collapsed on the couch. Her phone was blowing up with texts and calls. Derek had called 20 times. She blocked his number. His mother sent a long message apologizing again. Simone responded with a simple, thank you. Her own mother texted to make sure she was okay. Friends who had been at the party sent messages of support. Everyone wanted to know if she needed anything. What Simone needed was sleep. She was exhausted. Physically, emotionally, mentally. She felt wrung out like a dish rag. But first she had one more thing to do. She opened her email and typed out a message to the HR department at Henderson and Associates. To whom it may concern, I am writing to report a workplace relationship between Derek Phillips and Candace Porter. I have evidence that this relationship has been ongoing for at least 8 months and has involved the use of company resources and time. I believe this violates your workplace ethics policy. Please find attached documentation of their relationship. She attached screenshots of messages that mentioned meeting at the office, using company email and attending company events together. Then she hit send. Derek might have lost his fiancée and his reputation tonight. But by Monday he would lose his job too. Simone put her phone down and closed her eyes. It was done. It was finally done. Simone did not sleep much that night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Derek's face when the recording played. She heard his voice making excuses. She felt her mother's arms around her while she cried. Around 3 in the morning, she gave up on sleep and went to the kitchen. Tatiana was already there making tea. Couldn't sleep either? Tatiana asked. Too much in my head. They sat at the small kitchen table and drank tea in comfortable silence. Outside the city was quiet. It was strange to think that life was just continuing normally when Simone's entire world had changed. How are you feeling? Tatiana asked eventually. Numb. Relieved. Scared. All of it at once. That makes sense. I keep thinking about his mom. The way she looked at him. Like she did not even recognize him. She probably didn't. He hid who he really was for a long time. Do you think she knew? Deep down? Tatiana considered this. Maybe. Mothers sometimes know things they don't want to admit. But that doesn't make it her fault. I don't blame her. Or his dad. They're good people. Unlike their son. Simone's phone buzzed. Even though she had blocked Derek, he was apparently trying to reach her through other numbers. This text was from a number she didn't recognize. Simone, please. We need to talk. This is all a misunderstanding. I can explain everything. Please just give me a chance. She deleted it without responding. He's not going to give up easily, Tatiana said. I know. But I'm not changing my mind. Good. Because he doesn't deserve a second chance. The next morning, Simone woke up on Tatiana's couch to 17 missed calls and 32 text messages. Derek had apparently enlisted friends to contact her on his behalf. They all said the same thing. He made a mistake. He's sorry. Everyone deserves a second chance. She's being too harsh. Simone blocked every number that sent her a message defending Derek. Around noon, Attorney Hammond called. I heard about last night, she said. Are you all right? How did you hear? Derek's father called me. He wants to make sure Derek signs the quitclaim deed. He's mortified by his son's behavior. Thomas is a good man. He is. And he's going to make sure Derek cooperates. We have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow afternoon. Derek doesn't want to come, but his father is insisting. What if he still refuses to sign? Then we go to court. But honestly, I don't think it'll come to that. Derek is facing consequences from multiple directions right now. His parents are furious. His reputation is destroyed. And I have it on good authority that his employer is conducting an investigation into his relationship with Candace Porter. Simone felt a small spark of satisfaction. How do you know that? I may have a contact in their HR department. Purely coincidental, of course. Simone smiled for the first time in days. Of course. The point is, Derek is going to want to make this as painless as possible. He'll sign. And then you can move on with your life. After hanging up with Attorney Hammond, Simone finally checked her social media. She had been tagged in multiple posts from people at the party. The story was spreading fast. By now, half of Derek's social circle probably knew what happened. There were comments on her posts. Some supportive. Some nosy. Some from people she barely knew asking for details. Simone made her accounts private and ignored all of it. What she did not ignore was the email from Henderson and Associates. It arrived Monday morning while she was eating breakfast at Tatiana's place. Dear Ms. Brooks, thank you for bringing this matter to our attention. We take workplace ethics very seriously. After reviewing the evidence you provided, we have decided to terminate Derek Phillips and Candace Porter effective immediately. Both were involved in a relationship that violated company policy and used company resources inappropriately. Thank you for your diligence in this matter. Simone read the email 3 times. Derek had been fired. So had Candace. It was done. She felt something settle in her chest. Not quite happiness. Not quite satisfaction. But something close. Justice maybe. Or just the knowledge that actions had consequences. Tatiana read the email over Simone's shoulder and whistled. Damn. They don't mess around. Good. You think Derek knows yet? Probably. I bet his phone is exploding right now. As if summoning him, Simone's phone rang. Another unknown number. She answered without thinking. Simone. Derek's voice was desperate. Please don't hang up. She hung up. He called back immediately. She sent it to voicemail. Then he sent a text from yet another number. I just got fired because of you. I have nothing left. Are you happy now? Simone stared at the message for a long moment. Then she typed back. You got fired because of you. You chose to have an affair. You chose to lie. You chose to use company resources to meet your girlfriend. I didn't make you do any of that. You did it all yourself. She blocked the number before he could respond. You okay? Tatiana asked. Yeah, I'm okay. And she was more than okay. Because for the first time since finding that recording, Simone felt like herself again. Not Derek's fiancée. Not a victim. Just Simone. And that was enough. The next few weeks passed in a blur. Derek signed the quit-claim deed without argument. His father stood next to him at the lawyer's office and watched to make sure he did it. Thomas apologized to Simone again and gave her a check to cover half the deposits she had lost from canceled wedding vendors. You don't have to do this, Simone had said. Yes, I do. Derek should be paying it, but he doesn't have the money anymore. So I'm doing it. Please take it. She did. Not because she needed it, but because she understood it was important to Thomas. He needed to feel like he had done something to make it right. Derek moved in with a friend. Or so Simone heard through mutual acquaintances. She never asked and she didn't care. He sent one more email, a long rambling thing about how he had made mistakes but still loved her and wanted to work things out. She deleted it without reading past the first line. Candace tried to contact her once too. A message on social media before Simone blocked her. I know you hate me. I understand why. But I need you to know that Derek lied to me too. He told me you two were basically over. I would never have gotten involved if I knew the truth. Simone stared at the message for a moment, then typed back a single sentence. You knew he was engaged. That's all you needed to know. Then she blocked her and never thought about her again. The hardest part was not dealing with Derek or Candace. It was dealing with everyone else. The questions. The sympathy. The people who wanted to know all the details. The ones who said she should have given Derek another chance. The ones who said she had humiliated him publicly and that was cruel. Simone learned to smile and say, I'm doing fine, thank you, and then change the subject. She learned to ignore people who did not have her best interests at heart. She learned to protect her peace. She also learned that she was stronger than she thought. Every day that passed, she felt a little bit more like herself. A little bit more confident. A little bit more certain that leaving Derek was the best decision she had ever made. 3 months after the confrontation, Simone was sitting in her living room, the living room that was now entirely hers, when her phone rang. It was Patricia. Hello. Simone dear. How are you? I'm good, Patricia. How are you? I'm well. I wanted to call and check on you. I know it's been a while, but I think about you often. That's very kind of you. I also wanted you to know that Derek is seeing a therapist. Thomas insisted. I don't know if that matters to you, but I thought you should know he's trying to work on himself. Simone felt nothing hearing this. No anger, no satisfaction, no hope. Just nothing. I'm glad he's getting help, she said diplomatically. He asks about you sometimes. I tell him it's none of his business how you're doing. Simone smiled. Thank you for that. You deserved so much better than what he gave you. I hope you know that. I do now. They talked for a few more minutes, mostly about Patricia's garden and Simone's work. It was nice. Normal. Like they could still have a relationship even though her relationship with Derek was over. When Simone hung up, she felt good. She felt free. She was building a new life and it was better than the old one. Better than the life she would have had with Derek. She was finally moving forward. 6 months after the breakup, Simone barely recognized her life. Everything had changed and for the first time in a long time the changes felt good. She had thrown herself into work after the confrontation. It was easier to think about design projects than about Derek. Her boss had noticed her increased dedication and gave her a lead role on a major campaign for a new tech startup. The project was challenging and demanding, and Simone loved every minute of it. You've really stepped up, her boss Sandra said during their quarterly review. The client specifically requested you for their next project. That's huge. Thank you. It feels good to be recognized. It's more than recognition. I want to offer you a promotion. Senior designer with a team under you. 20% raise. What do you say? Simone did not even have to think about it. I say yes. They shook hands and Simone left the office feeling like she was walking on air. A promotion. A raise. All because she had focused on herself and her career instead of trying to fix a broken relationship. That evening, she celebrated with Tatiana at their favorite restaurant. I'm so proud of you, Tatiana said, raising her glass. Look at you thriving. I'm trying. You're doing more than trying. You're succeeding. Simone clinked her glass against Tatiana's and took a sip of wine. Life was good. Really good. She had her own house, her own money, a great job, and amazing friends. She did not need a man to be happy. She especially did not need Derek. But she had also started working on herself in other ways. 2 months after the breakup, she had found a therapist. Dr. Michelle Rodriguez specialized in relationship trauma and helping people rebuild after betrayal. You're doing very well, Dr. Rodriguez said during one of their sessions. You've processed the betrayal, you've established boundaries, and you're building a life you love. That's huge progress. Sometimes I still get angry, Simone admitted. I'll be fine for days and then something will remind me of Derek and I just feel this rage. That's normal. Healing isn't linear. You can be doing great and still have bad days. The key is not letting those bad days derail you. How do I do that? You acknowledge the feeling. You sit with it. Then you let it go and keep moving forward. Which is exactly what you've been doing. Simone had also joined a gym. Not to lose weight or change her appearance, but because she needed somewhere to put all the energy that used to go into wedding planning. She took kickboxing classes 3 times a week and discovered she loved hitting things. It was therapeutic. She met new people at the gym. Other women who were rebuilding their lives. They formed a sort of unofficial support group, meeting for smoothies after class and talking about everything from careers to bad dates to family drama. I'm telling you, said Monica, a divorce attorney who had left her own cheating husband 5 years ago, the best revenge is living well. Not just saying it. Actually doing it. Is it still revenge if you're not doing it to hurt them? Simone asked. Who cares? You're happy. That's what matters. Simone also joined a book club. She had always loved reading but had gotten away from it during her relationship with Derek. He had always wanted to watch television or go out. She had let her own interests slide to accommodate his schedule. Now she read a book a week. The book club met every other Thursday at a local coffee shop, and Simone looked forward to it more than almost anything else. The discussions were lively, the people were interesting, and it reminded her that she had a life outside of work and failed relationships. What did you think of the ending? Asked Claire, the book club organizer, during one meeting. I thought it was perfect, Simone said. The main character chose herself instead of the man who betrayed her. She built a new life and found happiness on her own terms. That resonated with me. Because of your ex? Claire asked gently. Simone had shared a bit about her situation with the group. Yeah. I used to think I needed someone else to be complete. Now I know that's not true. I'm complete on my own. Amen to that, said another member, and they all raised their coffee cups in a toast. 8 months after the breakup, Simone got a call from Thomas, Derek's father. Simone, I hope I'm not overstepping by calling. Not at all. It's good to hear from you. I wanted you to know that Patricia and I consider you family. Even though things didn't work out with Derek, we still care about you. Simone felt tears prick her eyes. That means a lot. We were wondering if you'd like to join us for Thanksgiving. I know it might be awkward, but Derek won't be there. He's going to his friend's house. Simone thought about it. Part of her wanted to say no, to keep a clean break from anything related to Derek. But another part of her missed Thomas and Patricia. They had been good to her. They were not responsible for their son's choices. I'd like that, she said finally. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for giving us a chance. We really do love you, Simone. Thanksgiving at the Phillips house was surprisingly nice. Patricia cooked a huge meal, and Thomas told terrible jokes that made everyone laugh. They did not talk about Derek except briefly when Patricia mentioned he was doing better. He's in therapy and working on himself, she said. I don't think he'll ever forgive himself for what he did to you. I hope he learns from it, Simone said honestly. I hope he becomes a better person. You're very gracious, Thomas said. More than he deserves. I'm not being gracious for him. I'm being gracious for me. Holding on to anger only hurts me, not him. After dinner, Patricia pulled Simone aside. I'm so glad you came. And I'm so glad you're doing well. You look happy. I'm happy. Happier than I've been in a long time. Good. That's what you deserve. Happiness. When Simone left that evening, she felt at peace. She had been afraid seeing Derek's parents would bring back bad feelings, but instead, it had shown her how far she had come. She could be in that house, the house where she had spent countless Sundays with Derek, and feel nothing but contentment. The following week, Simone attended a professional conference for graphic designers. It was a 3-day event downtown with workshops, networking events, and keynote speakers. She went alone, which was new for her. Old Simone would have wanted someone to go with her. New Simone was comfortable being by herself. On the second day, during a workshop on innovative design techniques, she sat next to a man who introduced himself as Julian Foster. He was a freelance illustrator, funny and easy to talk to. They ended up getting coffee after the workshop and talking for 2 hours about art, design, and their careers. "So you're not working for a company?" Simone asked. "Nope. I went freelance 3 years ago. Best decision I ever made. I get to pick my projects, set my own schedule, work with clients I actually like." "That sounds amazing." "It is. Also terrifying. Some months are great, some months are slow. But I wouldn't trade the freedom for anything." They exchanged business cards before parting ways. Julian's card had a beautiful illustrated design on it that made Simone smile. "If you ever want to talk about going freelance," Julian said, "feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to help." "I might take you up on that." Over the next few weeks, Simone found herself thinking about that conversation. Going freelance. Being her own boss. Choosing her own clients. It was appealing. Really appealing. She started researching. She looked at other freelance designers' websites. She calculated how much money she would need to save before making the leap. She made a list of potential clients. And slowly an idea started forming. What if she started her own design business? Not immediately, but eventually. Something to work toward. For the first time since Derek, Simone was excited about the future. Not a future with someone else, but her own future. One she was building brick by brick. She was not the same woman who had found that recording 10 months ago. That woman had been planning a wedding, planning a life with someone who did not deserve her. That woman had been willing to ignore her own dreams to support someone else's. This woman, the new Simone, was different. Stronger. Clearer about what she wanted. And what she wanted was a life that belonged entirely to her. It was a random Tuesday afternoon when Julian texted her. "Hey, I'm working on a project that could use your expertise. Interested in a collaboration?" Simone smiled at her phone. She and Julian had been texting occasionally since the conference 2 months ago. Nothing romantic. Just professional conversation that sometimes veered into friendly territory. He was easy to talk to, which Simone appreciated. No pressure. No expectations. "What kind of project?" she texted back. "Startup needs a full rebrand. Logo, website, marketing materials. It's a lot of work but good money. Thought we could team up." "I'm interested. Send me details?" They met at a coffee shop the next day to discuss the project. Julian brought his portfolio and a proposal from the client. As they talked through ideas, Simone realized how much fun she was having. Collaborating with Julian felt natural. He listened to her ideas, built on them, challenged her in ways that made her work better. "You're really talented," Julian said when they had hammered out a rough concept. "Like, I've worked with a lot of designers. You're one of the best." "Thank you. You're not so bad yourself." "I'm serious. Have you ever thought about going out on your own?" "Actually, yes. I've been thinking about it a lot lately." "You should do it. With your skills and reputation, you'd kill it." They worked on the project together over the next month. It was intense but rewarding. The client loved what they created, and Simone and Julian made a good profit splitting the fee. More importantly, it showed Simone that she could do this. She could be her own boss. She could succeed without a corporate structure around her. "Same time next week?" Julian asked after their final presentation to the client. "Same time next week for what?" "I don't know. Coffee? Another project? I like working with you." Simone felt something flutter in her chest. Something she had not felt in a long time. Interest. Not intense attraction or desperate need. Just genuine interest in another person. "I like working with you too," she said carefully. "Good." Julian smiled. "Then let's do more of it." They started meeting regularly. Sometimes for work. Sometimes just for coffee or lunch. Julian was different from Derek in every way. He asked questions about her life and actually listened to the answers. He respected her boundaries. He never pushed for more than she was willing to give. "Can I ask you something?" Julian said one day over lunch. "Sure. What happened with your ex? You mentioned you had a bad breakup, but you never gave details." "You don't have to tell me if you don't want to." Simone considered this. A year ago, the question would have brought up pain and anger. Now she felt detached, like the story belonged to someone else. He was cheating on me, she said simply, planning to marry me for financial reasons and then divorce me. I found out 3 months before the wedding. Julian's expression darkened. That's terrible. It was. But it was also the best thing that could have happened. How so? Because I learned what I don't want. I learned to trust my instincts. I learned that I'm strong enough to handle hard things. And I learned that I don't need anyone else to be happy. That's healthy, Julian said. A lot of people never learn that. What about you? Any dramatic breakup stories? Nothing that dramatic. My last relationship just kind of fizzled out. We wanted different things. She wanted to move across the country for a job. I didn't want to leave. So we ended it. Any regrets? No. It was the right decision for both of us. We're still friends actually. She's happy. I'm happy. Sometimes relationships just run their course, you know? Simone did know. And she appreciated that Julian did not seem bitter or damaged by his past. He had moved on in a healthy way. They kept seeing each other. Slowly, carefully, their friendship started shifting into something more. Julian never rushed her. He let Simone set the pace. When he finally asked if he could take her on an actual date, a year had passed since her breakup with Derek. I'd like that, Simone said. But I need to be clear about something. Okay. I'm taking things slow. Really slow. I'm not jumping into anything. And if at any point you feel like I'm not ready or it's not worth the wait, I understand. Simone. Julian looked at her seriously. I like you. I like spending time with you. I'm not in a hurry. We move at whatever pace feels right to you. Their first date was simple. Dinner at a quiet restaurant, then a walk around the city. They talked about everything and nothing. Julian made her laugh. He asked about her business plans and genuinely seemed interested in her answers. At the end of the night, he walked her to her car and kissed her cheek. Thank you for tonight, he said. Thank you for being patient with me. Always. Over the next few months, Simone and Julian grew closer. But it was different from how things had been with Derek. This relationship felt balanced. They both had their own lives, their own careers, their own friends. They came together because they wanted to, not because they needed to. Julian met Tatiana, who gave him a thorough interrogation over drinks. So what are your intentions with my best friend? Tatiana asked bluntly. To be someone she can trust, Julian said without hesitation. To support her. To be honest with her. To never make her question herself or her worth. Tatiana studied him for a long moment, then nodded. Good answer. But if you hurt her, I'll destroy you. Noted. I like him, Tatiana told Simone later. He seems genuine. He is, Simone said. It's nice. Just nice. Nice is good. Nice is what I need right now. Around the same time, Derek reached out one last time. A long email that Simone almost deleted without reading. But something made her open it. The email was different from his previous attempts. No excuses. No begging. Just an apology. Simone, I know you probably don't want to hear from me. I don't blame you. I treated you horribly and there's no excuse for what I did. I'm writing this not because I expect forgiveness or want to get back together. I'm writing because you deserve to hear this. I was selfish. I was manipulative. I took advantage of your trust and your love. I hurt you in ways that I'm still understanding the depth of. Therapy has helped me see how messed up my thinking was. How I justified terrible behavior by telling myself it was okay because I had a plan. I want you to know that you did nothing wrong. You were perfect. You were loyal and kind and hardworking, and I threw it all away because I was too broken to see what I had. I hope you're happy now. I hope you found someone who treats you the way you deserve to be treated. And I hope someday I can become the kind of person who deserves good things. I'm sorry, Simone. For everything. Derek. Simone read the email twice. She felt nothing reading it. No anger. No sadness. No desire to respond. She had moved on. Derek was part of her past and she was okay with that. She closed the email and never replied. That weekend, Julian came over for dinner. Simone cooked pasta, and they ate on her back patio under string lights she had hung up. This is nice, Julian said looking around. You've really made this place your own. Thanks. It took a while, but it finally feels like home. Can I ask you something? Always. Are you happy? I mean really happy, not just okay. Simone thought about it. A year and a half ago, she had been planning a wedding to a man who was using her. She had been stressed and tired and trying so hard to make everything perfect. She had been living for someone else. Now she lived for herself. She had a career she loved, friends who supported her, a house that was truly hers, and someone sitting across from her who respected her and made her feel valued. Yeah, she said, smiling. I'm really happy. Julian reached across the table and took her hand. Good. You deserve it. And for the first time in her life, Simone truly believed that. 18 months after finding that recording, Simone sat in her home office staring at her laptop screen. The website design stared back at her. Simple. Clean. Professional. Brooks Design Studio. Exceptional graphic design for exceptional brands. She had done it. She had officially launched her own business. Leaving her corporate job had been scary. She had a steady paycheck, benefits, security, but she also had a dream. And after everything she had been through, Simone had learned that playing it safe did not always mean being happy. You're sure about this? Sandra, her former boss, had asked when Simone gave notice. I'm sure. It's time. I hate to lose you, but I admire you for going after what you want. And if you ever need a reference or a contract job, call me. Thank you. For everything. That had been 3 months ago. Since then, Simone had been building her business one client at a time. It was hard work. Some days she wondered if she had made a mistake. But most days she woke up excited to work. That made all the difference. Julian had been her biggest supporter. He helped her with the business website, introduced her to potential clients, and talked her through the scary moments. You've got this, he said whenever she doubted herself. You're one of the most talented designers I know. They had been officially dating for 6 months now. It was still going slowly by most standards, but that was okay with both of them. They had dinner together twice a week. They spent weekends working on projects or exploring the city. They talked about everything. Simone appreciated that Julian never pushed for more. When she was ready to say, I love you, she did. When she was ready to meet his family, she did. Everything happened naturally on her timeline with no pressure. My mom wants to meet you, Julian had said nervously last month. Okay. Okay? Just like that. Yeah. Why not? I don't know. I thought you might need time to think about it. Julian. Simone had taken his hand. I'm ready. I wouldn't say yes if I wasn't. Meeting Julian's mother was surprisingly easy. She was a warm woman who hugged Simone immediately and asked about her business. They talked for hours over dinner, and Simone felt completely comfortable. I like her, Julian's mother said to him later, not quietly enough. Don't mess this up. I'm trying not to, Julian said, grinning. Around the same time, Simone got a call from Patricia. Derek's mother called every few months to check in. They had maintained a relationship separate from Derek, which Simone appreciated. I have news, Patricia said. Derek's engaged. Simone felt absolutely nothing hearing this. That's good. I hope he's learned from his mistakes. I hope so too. Her name is Amy. She seems nice, but I don't know her well yet. Derek's been very private about the relationship. That's probably smart. Take time to build something real before involving everyone. You're very mature about this. I don't think I could be so calm if Thomas had done to me what Derek did to you. It's been almost 2 years, Patricia. I've moved on. I'm happy. I want Derek to be happy too. Just far away from me. Patricia laughed. Fair enough. How's your business going? They talked for another 20 minutes about Simone's work, Patricia's garden, and life in general. When they hung up, Simone realized she had talked about Derek's engagement without any emotional reaction. That was growth. That evening she told Julian about the call. How do you feel about it? He asked. Honestly, I don't feel anything. It's like hearing about a stranger getting engaged. That's healthy. Is it weird that I hope it works out for him? Not because I want him back or forgive him, but because I want him to do better. To be better. No, that's not weird. That's compassionate. You've healed enough to wish him well from a distance. When did you get so wise? Julian grinned. I've always been wise. You're just now noticing. 2 months later, Simone hit a major milestone. Her business was officially profitable. She had enough clients to cover her expenses and then some. She was making more money than she had at her corporate job, and she was happier doing it. She celebrated by taking Tatiana out to dinner. Look at you, Tatiana said, raising her glass. Business owner. Independent woman. Living your best life. I couldn't have done it without you. You let me stay with you when I had nowhere else to go. You supported me through everything. That's what best friends do. Besides, you would have done the same for me. In a heartbeat. They clinked glasses and drank to new beginnings. At home that night, Simone walked through her house and took stock of her life. The house was fully decorated now. Every room reflected her taste, her style, her personality. No compromises. No trying to blend someone else's preferences with her own. Just purely hers. Her office was filled with design equipment and client work. Her bedroom was peaceful and comfortable. Her living room was cozy with the exact couch she wanted. Her kitchen had the expensive espresso machine she had always wanted but Derek said was too impractical. Every corner of this house made her happy. She thought about the woman she had been 2 years ago. Stressed. Trying so hard to be perfect. Sacrificing her own dreams for someone who did not appreciate it. Planning a wedding to a man who was planning to use her. She barely recognized that woman now. The Simone of today was confident. Strong. Independent. She knew her worth. She knew what she wanted. She knew she could survive anything because she already had. Her phone buzzed. Julian. Just wanted to say goodnight. And that I'm proud of you. And that I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Simone smiled. This was what a healthy relationship looked like. Support. Respect. Genuine affection. No games. No manipulation. Just two people who cared about each other and showed it. Good night. See you tomorrow. She put her phone down and looked around her house one more time. This was happiness. Not the fairy tale kind. Not perfect. But real. Solid. Built on a foundation of self-respect and hard work. Derek had tried to take everything from her. Her money. Her future. Her dignity. But he had failed. Because Simone was stronger than he ever gave her credit for. She had rebuilt her life from scratch, and it was better than anything she could have imagined. She had not just survived Derek's betrayal. She had thrived because of it. And that was the best revenge of all. The invitation arrived on a Tuesday morning. Elegant cream cardstock with gold lettering. You are invited to celebrate 2 years of Brooks Design Studio. Simone had been planning this party for months. A celebration of her business success, but also of how far she had come personally. She wanted to thank everyone who had supported her. Her family. Her friends. Her clients. Julian. The party was at a rented event space downtown. Simone had transformed it with string lights, elegant decorations, and a slideshow of her best work from the past 2 years. There was food, music, and an open bar. She had spared no expense. People started arriving at 7. Tatiana came first, helping Simone with last-minute details. You look amazing, Tatiana said. Simone wore a royal blue dress that made her feel powerful and beautiful. I feel amazing. You should. You built all this yourself. Simone's parents arrived next, proud and beaming. Her father hugged her tight. I'm so proud of you, sweetheart. Look what you've accomplished. Thanks, Dad. Remember 2 years ago? At my birthday dinner? How could I forget? That night I thought my heart was going to break watching you hurt. But look at you now. You took that pain and turned it into something beautiful. That takes real strength. Simone's mother joined the hug. You're an inspiration, baby. To all of us. Clients arrived. Some Simone had worked with from the beginning. Others were newer. They all had great things to say about working with her. About her professionalism, her creativity, her dedication. Julian arrived with his mother. He looked handsome in a dark suit, and his mother was elegant in a simple dress. Congratulations, Julian said, kissing Simone's cheek. This is incredible. Thank you. For everything. You've been such a huge support. That's easy when you're supporting someone as talented as you. Julian's mother hugged Simone. I'm so glad Julian found you. You're exactly the kind of woman I hoped he'd meet. That's very sweet of you. I mean it. You're strong, independent, successful. You know your worth. That's rare. The party filled up quickly. 50 people laughing, drinking, celebrating. Simone moved through the crowd, thanking people for coming, catching up with friends, making sure everyone was having a good time. At one point, she found herself standing with Monica from the gym and Claire from book club. They were talking about a mutual friend's divorce. She's handling it well, Monica said. Better than most people do. That's because she has good examples, Claire said, nodding at Simone. You showed all of us that you can survive betrayal and come out stronger. I don't know about that, Simone said. No, she's right, Monica insisted. When I met you 2 years ago, you had just blown up your entire life. You were staying with a friend, starting therapy, trying to figure out what came next. And look at you now. You own your own successful business. You're in a healthy relationship. You're happy. That's inspiring. Simone felt tears prick her eyes. Thank you. That means a lot. Later, Simone stood at the front of the room and gave a short speech. Thank you all for being here tonight. 2 years ago I was at a crossroads. I had to make some hard decisions about my life and my future. I had to figure out who I was and what I wanted. It wasn't easy. There were days I wanted to give up. Days I wondered if I was making a mistake. But I had support. From my family who never doubted me. From my friends who held me up when I couldn't stand on my own. From clients who took a chance on a new business owner. And from Julian who showed me what a real partnership looks like. This business exists because all of you believed in me. So thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you. Everyone applauded. Simone saw her mother crying happy tears. Her father beaming with pride. Tatiana grinning and mouthing, I love you. Julian watching her with such warmth in his eyes that it made her chest feel tight. As the party continued, Simone found a quiet moment on the balcony overlooking the city. She needed a minute to process everything. To really appreciate where she was. Julian found her there. You okay? He asked, sliding an arm around her waist. More than okay. I'm perfect. You are perfect. Simone laughed. I'm not perfect. I'm just happy. Really, genuinely happy. You deserve it. After everything you've been through. You know what's funny? I used to think Derek ruining our relationship was the worst thing that could happen to me. Now I realize it was the best thing. If he hadn't betrayed me, I might still be with him. Still making myself smaller to fit his needs. Still sacrificing my dreams for someone who didn't appreciate me. His loss is definitely my gain, Julian said. And mine. I found myself again. I built something I'm proud of. I learned what real love looks like. None of that would have happened if I had married Derek. Do you ever think about him? Not really. Sometimes I wonder if he's doing better. If he learned from his mistakes. But mostly I just don't think about him at all. He's not part of my story anymore. Good. Because your story now is pretty great. They stood on the balcony for a while longer, watching the city lights and listening to the party behind them. Simone thought about the recording that had changed everything. That accidental voice memo that had revealed Derek's true nature. At the time, finding out the truth had felt like the end of the world. But really it had been the beginning. The beginning of becoming who she was always meant to be. I love you, Julian said quietly. I love you too. They went back inside to rejoin the party. Simone danced with her father. She laughed with Tatiana. She talked business with clients. She felt Julian's presence across the room, supportive but not smothering. Near the end of the night, as people were starting to leave, Patricia called Simone's phone. She stepped outside to answer. Patricia? Is everything okay? Everything's fine, dear. I just wanted to call and congratulate you. I saw pictures from your party on social media. It looks wonderful. Thank you. I wish you could have been there. Me too. But I wanted you to know that Thomas and I are so proud of you. We always knew you were special. We're just sorry Derek didn't see it. That's kind of you to say. I also wanted to tell you that Derek got married last weekend. To Amy. It was a small ceremony. I hope they're happy. So do I. But Simone, I want you to know something. You were the best thing that ever happened to my son. And he threw it away. That's on him. What you've built in the past 2 years. That's all you. Your strength. Your talent. Your determination. Don't ever forget that. Simone felt emotion welling up. Thank you, Patricia. That means more than you know. You're like a daughter to me. Derek or no Derek, that's not changing. If you ever need anything at all, call me. I will. Thank you. When Simone hung up, she took a moment to process the news. Derek was married. Good for him. She genuinely hoped he had changed. That he was treating Amy better than he had treated her. That he had learned and grown. But mostly she felt nothing. Derek was part of her past. A closed chapter. She had moved on completely. She went back inside to find Julian waiting for her. Everything okay? He asked. Everything's perfect. The last guests left around midnight. Tatiana helped Simone and Julian clean up the event space. This was a great party, Tatiana said. A perfect celebration. It was, Simone agreed. Thank you for helping put it together. Always. That's what best friends do. They dropped off the rental items and said goodnight to Tatiana. Then Julian drove Simone home. They sat in his car outside her house for a few minutes, neither wanting the night to end. I have something for you, Julian said, reaching into the back seat. He pulled out a wrapped package and handed it to Simone. What's this? A celebration gift. Open it. Simone unwrapped the package carefully. Inside was a beautiful framed illustration. It showed a woman standing on top of a mountain, arms outstretched, facing the sunrise. The art style was distinctly Julian's. "It's beautiful," Simone breathed. "It's you. 2 years ago you were at the bottom of that mountain. Now you're at the top. And the view is incredible." Simone felt tears rolling down her cheeks. "Julian, this is perfect. Thank you." "There's an inscription on the back." Simone turned the frame over. In Julian's handwriting, "To Simone, who taught me that strength isn't about never falling down. It's about getting back up. I'm so proud to know you. Love, Julian." "I love it," Simone said. "I love you. I love you too." They kissed and Simone felt complete. Not because Julian completed her. She had learned that she was complete on her own. But because he complemented her. Enhanced her. Made her life better without being necessary for her happiness. When she finally went inside, Simone hung the illustration in her office where she would see it every day. A reminder of how far she had come. A reminder that she was strong enough to handle anything. She got ready for bed, washing her face and thinking about the past 2 years. All the pain. All the growth. All the lessons learned. Derek had tried to use her. He had planned to take everything she had worked for. But he had failed. Because Simone was not someone who could be used. She was not someone who would accept less than she deserved. She had taken a terrible situation and turned it into an opportunity. She had rebuilt her life on her own terms. She had learned to love herself first. And then she had found someone who loved the real her, not some version she pretended to be. As Simone climbed into bed, she thought about the recording one last time. That accidental voice memo that had changed everything. She had never deleted it. It sat in her phone archives, a reminder of what she had survived. But she never listened to it anymore. She did not need to. That was the past. This right now was her present. And her future looked bright. Simone closed her eyes and smiled. She had done it. She had gotten her revenge, not by hurting Derek, but by building a life so good that his betrayal became irrelevant. She had won by becoming happy. And that was the best ending she could have asked for.